I had recently bought my first home. It was nothing special. In fact, to put it bluntly, it was pretty crappy. The floorboards were dirty and rough, the walls covered with old-fashioned, tattered wallpaper, and the whole house reeked of what I can only describe as an elderly nursing home. But it was definitely a step up from the crummy one-room apartment I previously called home. I quickly got to unpacking my belongings before beginning to clean up around my new home. The living room had enough dust to fill a whole garbage can, and the bedroom had an even stronger smell than the rest of the house. The bathroom was grimy and unkempt. The kitchen was filled with rusty appliances that had been seemingly untouched for years. There was an office, too. Unfortunately, it looked more like a robbery gone horribly wrong. After a few hours of sweeping, spraying, and scrubbing, however, I could say I was actually quite proud of my new home. I started to set up my new bedroom first. After moving my bed in and dressers, I began to fill the closet with my various coats and jackets. As I did, I spotted a large tear in the carpet below. I planned on replacing the shaggy, raggedy carpet anyways, so I decided to lift it. Underneath was a small latch door. Unlike the rest of the home, the door was surprisingly well kept. The handle was as shiny as a polished car, and the wood looked almost brand new. I figured I'd investigate it more later once I finished taking care of the rest of the home. Admittedly, I forgot all about it till much later. After filling the living room and sprucing up the kitchen, I decided to call it a night. Returning to my bedroom, I fell fast asleep before my head even hit the pillow. But I was woken up by a loud scratching sound from the closet. I got out of bed to investigate. The scratching in question was coming from the mysterious trapdoor. I grabbed a flashlight and lifted open the door. As I looked down, it looked to be some kind of basement or cellar. A stone staircase leading down to a cinder block room, old rotting wooden shelves lining the walls, with broken up wine barrels piled up in the corner. Figuring the scratching was coming from some rodent, I decided to lay down some rat traps before heading back to bed. The next day was pretty normal, at least until I returned home from work. My living room had been littered with garbage, empty bags of chips and bottles sloppily laid about. The TV was warm as if it had recently been used, and my new office space had been trashed once again. My bedroom was surprisingly untouched, except for the cellar door. It had been swung wide open. On the bright side, I managed to catch the rat. I called the police and reported a robbery. After investigating, they told me there was no sign of forced entry, and none of my valuables had been taken. They told me to call if anything happens again and left. I decided to get some security cameras and lay them all about my house. The next day, the same thing had happened. I quickly got to checking my cameras, but they had all been destroyed. Once again, the cellar door in the closet had been swung open. I decided it was time to investigate this place. It was cold, damp, and completely smelled of rat shit and dead flies. As I continued to explore, I noticed a shine behind one of the decrepit shelves. I pushed the shelf out of the way to see a rusty metal door. It looked like it was ripped straight out of an abandoned hospital you'd see in horror movies. My curiosity got the better over me, and I slowly pried open the door, and what I saw made me vomit. There was a surgical table completely stained with dried blood. Rusty tools lined the walls, all stained with a deep red. Rusty meat hooks lined the walls, and a small freezer that I didn't dare open. In the back of the room, there was another door, where I could hear footsteps coming toward it. I quickly ran out of the cellar and out of the house, before reporting it to the police. They found the torture room and the secret room. It was filled with corpses, of all different sizes, but they never found who was responsible. Come to think of it, they did say there was no forced entry.